So our fluency plan is really focusing on addition and subtraction within 10. I am giving some suggestions of the strategies that we can look for in each unit of study, more or less by section in first grade, because we're going to be really thinking about what students know from kindergarten at this point in the year, which is at the very beginning of the year. So I'm recommending if you have the bridges, placement, and assessment, you can use that to assess where they are within 5 to kind of give you an idea going in. But if you don't have that, it's perfectly okay. You can watch what students are doing as they're working in centers and as they're doing the lesson activities. In section A, we're looking for which students can count all. Are they counting each individual object with a correct count and number name for each individual item? Can they subitize? Are they using counting on or counting back? And then towards the end, they're going to begin to think about subtraction and its relationship to addition. So I've given some information here in the sections around ideas for small groups and lesson synthesis. And then I have some examples worked with manipulatives that I'm going to share right now. These first couple lessons are all about figuring out what our students already know and are able to do. And so we're really looking at that during our synthesis. But one of the things that we want to consider in this activity is making sure that kids have a physical manipulative as well. This is great pictorially, but if we're really wanting to see how students are counting and how they are thinking about this, we might want to give them a physical manipulative. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples that you could use with this activity where students are matching dots and expressions in a way that we might see how they are counting on instead of just matching the dots to the expression. So one of my favorite ways to do this is with a number bond. And so I can think about that first expression and I can ask students, okay, if I have 4 and 2, how many is that? And so can they write that answer in this section? Are they able to put those two pieces together? Are they able to see 4 and count 2 more? Or are they seeing 2 and then counting on with 4 more? That's one way that you can think about that. We can also have students who are maybe struggling a little bit with their one-to-one correspondence. We can force the issue with some larger dot patterns. So we can think about, okay, do we have 1 and 4? Are they able to see that this is 4 and this is 1 without counting each individual piece? So this is something that we're looking for as students are doing these matching cards and expressions. So we want to be taking notes of how students are solving so that we can work with them in small group on strategies that they need. So in this first unit of study, particularly in this first section, we're really just finding out what students know and what they're able to do, and then building off of that. So we want to work towards not counting all, but counting on. So that is done in Unit 1, Lesson 4. We're really working on that in our warm-up. So the idea is that you have 6. I'm going to use a rec and rec to kind of illustrate this. So we have 6, and then I want to show 1 more. So what happens? Can students see that I have 5 plus 2 or 6 and 1 more? Do they know that? We want to get them thinking about, okay, we're not going to count all 6 and then 1 more. Can we say 6 and 1 more, or 6 and 2 more? So that number talk or number string goes from 6 plus 1, 6 plus 2 to then 8. So we have that here, 8 plus 1, and then 8 plus 2. And so this is one of those ways to think about, okay, how do we get students counting on from the number that we already have? Another way to do this is through their centers work. We can have them practicing with a beaded number line. This one is to 20. So we can have that same idea. If they have a struggle sometimes with the rec and rec, I love rec and recs, but if students aren't able to ignore the bottom, then we might want to use a beaded number line as the physical representation to show counting on. So if I were showing students that warm up and I was presenting it visually for students to see, I'm going to get a little bit closer. I would model that for them on the number line, on a beaded number line. So I have 6 and then one more. So can we see then I have 5 and 2 as well? Can we make that connection? Or can we just know that I have 6 and I'm going to say 7 is one more? And then what might 2 more be? Same thing with 8. So students should have access to these kinds of manipulatives when they're working in their centers as well, because that's the other thing that you're doing in this first section. So have them when they're counting off, when it's 5 in a row, when they're doing the matching, give them a physical manipulative. And that is one of the ways that we can really see where our students are and get great data from that.